What's up, everyone? Enemy here. In this video, each panelist lays out their organization's political philosophy. Now, the philosophy is different from an ideology, which is much more rigid. So, on this particular panel, there are 10 people. There are two ideologies. However, there are 10 different philosophies. So, see if you can accurately state the two positions that are on the right or conservative versus the other 8, which are progressive. For the complete version of this discussion, check out Afro Marxist channel. The link is in the description. Now, let's get into the video.
In selecting tonight's panel, we attempted to bring together a diversity of positions and philosophies, held together by the common thread of concern for all black people. The St. Louis Argus, a black community paper, describes this event as follows. I quote, "All over America, black men and women of purpose will be sitting down with their children to view this historic program, to ponder on its message, to listen, to learn, to go forward." Each panelist will now make a brief opening statement, after which we will place your questions before them. Reverend Ralph D. Abernathy, President, Southern Christian Leadership Council.
The Southern Christian Leadership Conference, known to many throughout our nation as SCLC, is that organization that was founded by Martin Luther King, Jr. and used as an instrument to redeem the soul of America. SCLC is now a national organization working across the South and in the major cities of the North for the rights and the needs of black and poor people. Basically, we organize masses of people in nonviolent community action movements and programs. We're working for the total liberation of black people through economic development and control of our black communities. We believe in amassing the collective power of blacks, other minorities, all people, and progressive forces. We seek a radical change in our national priorities, a redistribution of wealth and power, and the creation of a nation of peace and human decency. We also seek to develop and to strengthen our international ties to movements of other people across the world. SCLC is that organization that will see to it that America feeds its hungry, house its ill-housed, provide adequate medical care for all of its citizens, and live up to its pronouncements and its dream.
Imamu Amidi Baraka, Executive Committee, Congress of African People.
Congress of African People is a Pan-African nationalist organization because we believe in the unification of black people, Africans, wherever we are in the world. We also believe that we will not survive and develop unless we are able, through unity, to achieve self-determination, self-respect, self-reliance, and self-defense. We also work to unify diverse groups of black people, African people. We believe that there should be unity without uniformity, that all black groups must be able to work together around common purposes.
Dr. James Cheek, President of Howard University.
One of the major issues facing our nation in this decade is the issue of quality education. Many Americans, black and white, assume that quality education can occur only through integration, where integration has come to mean the destruction or closing of black colleges and institutions of learning, and black students enrolling in predominantly white institutions. At the level of higher education, that is beyond high school, this attitude enacted into public policy has resulted in the continuous deterioration of one of the nation's most important, most strategic, and most essential groups of institutions, the black colleges and universities. After more than a century of service in educating and training most of the nation's black college-trained population, these institutions have experienced, during the past 10 years, serious erosions in their resources, which have seriously affected the quality of their services and which today threaten their vitality and, from a number of standpoints, threaten their continued existence. Unless a major national effort is launched to change the public attitude toward the black colleges and universities and to provide for them substantial sums of financial support, many of them will not exist by 1980. And those that do survive will have become either predominantly white in student body and faculty or so poor in quality as to render them meaningless as collegiate-level institutions. In such an event, America's black population will be deprived of a major resource that is essential in our efforts to achieve for ourselves and the nation as a whole true social justice. The destruction and impoverishment of black colleges and universities will contribute to the destruction of any possibility of this nation achieving true democracy, true freedom, true equality, and true justice. It will be a national tragedy if America, through indifference, disinterest, and outright bigotry, allows the black institutions of this country to become academic wastelands. It is very clear that the development of strong and distinguished black institutions, not simply the inclusion of blacks in white institutions, is indispensable for the attainment of racial equality in this society.
Reverend Albert B. Clegg, Jr., Chairman, Black Christian Nationalist Movement.
I represent the Black Christian Nationalist Movement, and I state the Black Christian Nationalist Movement's position. We feel that it could very well be too late for the black man in America. Probably the next 5 or 10 years will indicate whether or not the black man can survive. Our struggle for survival is a very real struggle, and the white man has prepared genocide for black people. Unemployment, the black man is no longer necessary. Unemployment is going to be a way of life for black people. We are going to face increasing dangers and problems as the days pass, and we're totally unequipped as black people to deal with them. We're a part of a slave culture. We have no preparation. We have no black institutions capable of dealing with white racist institutions designed to serve only white people. We must deal with the problem that confronts black people by building black institutions, by understanding that only a separatist position is a viable position for black people. Any organization or any leader in America who today advocates integration is a foe and an enemy of black people and their survival in the coming years.
Representative Charles C. Diggs, Jr., Democrat, Michigan, and Chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus.
The United States is the second largest black nation in the world. The West African nation of Nigeria ranks first, having a population of over 60 million blacks, which more than doubles our own. The Congressional Black Caucus, composed of the 13 black members of the U.S. House of Representatives, believes that we are on the threshold of a new era of political power for blacks, not only in America, but in Africa and in the Caribbean area. There is a kind of heightened solidarity among black people now who are becoming more conscious of the intricacies of politics as an instrument for change. We are witnessing the emergence of a kind of nationalism, of a kind of black awareness that has spilled over into the political arena on an international scale. And the Congressional Black Caucus is committed to that kind of objective.
Mr. Dick Gregory, social commentator.
Is it too late? It could be if America insists on dealing with her problems with might instead of solving problems with right. It could be too late if America insists on fighting the sick, degenerate, insane war in Vietnam and not deal with the sick, insane problems that confronts Americans. It could be too late if America insists at this day and age that we are to run around the world to guarantee foreigners a better way of life than we guarantee our own Indian brothers who we have locked up on the reservations, who she stole this country from. Is it too late? It could be too late if America insists on solving her problems with political muscle instead of statesmanship ability.
Ms. Dorothy Height, President, National Council of Negro Women.
Black women face the double handicap of racism and sexism. And Mary McLeod Bethune recognized this as far back as 1935 when she founded the National Council of Negro Women, because she realized that the black woman, whether she was trained or untrained, stood outside of the mainstream of American opportunity, influence, and power. The National Council of Negro Women has encouraged black women to assume leadership roles and to serve as catalysts for social change. Today, as a coalition of 25 national organizations, we've realized that it is too late to have divisions. Women from all walks of life, different ages, political persuasion, social and economic backgrounds are mobilized to help increase the strength of the black family and the whole black community. The work of the National Council of Negro Women is based on a philosophy that I think could be expressed in 3 words: commitment, unity, and self-reliance. And the energy of its woman power is harnessed to fight such chronic inequities as racism itself, inadequate education and substandard housing, hunger and malnutrition, insufficient child care, drug addiction, the lack of economic opportunities, especially for women and their families in the rural South, and the demeaning conditions facing so many of us as household workers. It is late. It's too late to think about a matriarchy. It is the time to think about the unity of the whole family, and women of the National Council of Negro Women feel that in this day, black women can make a difference for justice and liberation.
Mr. Roy Ennis, National Director, Congress of Racial Equality.
The Congress of Racial Equality is a nationalist Pan-Africanist organization of the Garveyite variety. We feel the survival of black America is threatened by racial schizophrenia that plagues a great portion of black leadership. Malcolm called this problem the problem of the house nigger against the field nigger. Its destructive ramifications exist yet today. Black masses are governed and led by an elite few who have split loyalties between their black and white families. These racial schizoids are leading us down the path of racial genocide through the propagation of forced integration and the calculated assimilation. Black people could very well disappear as a people and certainly lose all prospect for black political, economic, and social power and unity. I say this feeling a profound sorrow and a heartfelt concern, for destruction looms critically before us unless we meet head-on the problem of the white-imposed leadership of the mulatto aristocracy and their Bantu lackeys. CORE will not shirk its responsibilities to reveal this truth and expose this conspiracy against black people.
Mr. Vernon E. Jordan, Jr., Executive Director, National Urban League.
The National Urban League believes in a pluralistic, open society, one in which black people have the same range of choices and options as any other citizen. The Urban League's action programs are carried out by 100 affiliates across the country, and they serve the minority community that is in need of our programs and our community organization projects. We believe that a necessary precondition for an open society is the presence of strong black institutions and the achievement of economic parity. We say it is not too late for black people to get themselves together and to join with others, blacks, browns, and whites, to bring about the necessary restructuring of our society. We believe it is not too late to realize the political and economic empowerment of black people and thus to achieve parity with those whose skin is white, whose opportunities have not been withheld, and whose progress has been steady.
Dr. John A. Morcell, Assistant Executive Director, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
When the NAACP was established some 63 years ago, a number of leading authorities in this field declined to join with it because they said it was impossible that black people could survive 50 years in this country under the conditions then prevailing. 63 years of history has passed. And like my organization, I am dedicated to the proposition that it is still possible to achieve genuine racial justice and meaningful equality among black and white Americans through the social and governmental structures we now have, modified as needed through the democratic process. I believe that the goal of an integrated society, nourished and formed by healthy cultural diversity, is still attainable. I also believe that there is no guarantee that we will be successful, but I am convinced that if we have any chance at all, it is along the road which seeks a common American destiny and insists upon a partnership of equals along the way.